Do you ever feel like you're just constantly reacting? You know, like you're being pulled in a million different directions?
Oh, absolutely. Emails, notifications, everyone wanting something.
Exactly. And you end the day feeling, well, busy, but maybe not. Like you've actually moved towards anything that really matters to you.
That feeling of being scattered, yeah, or kind of adrift, it's so common today. It's really the opposite of having that clear sense of direction, of feeling powerful in your own life.
Mm-hmm. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. We're looking at ways to uh, cut through all that noise and start intentionally making things happen.
And we're drawing on some really practical wisdom here, primarily from the teachings of Dandapani.
Right. Our sources describe him as a Hindu priest. He was a monk for quite a while, and now he's a pretty renowned speaker focusing on the mind.
Yeah, and his core message, which is what we really want to unpack,
Mm.
revolves around these two fundamental forces,
Mm.
clarity and focus.
Okay. So our mission for this deep dive is really to get well informed on why knowing exactly what you want, that's the clarity part. And then directing your energy, your attention towards it, the focus. Why these aren't just, nice ideas, but actually crucial, actionable steps.
Steps to bringing your aspirations, those deep goals, to life.
Mhm.
We're talking about real-world application here, things you can actually do.
So let's start with that core principle. Dandapani emphasizes clarity is power. That's the starting point.
That's what he argues, yeah.
Yeah.
It's foundational. And then when you combine that really crystal clear vision with unwavering focus, that's when you can truly tap into the potential of your own mind.
And he links this directly to manifestation, right? But maybe not in the way some people think about it.
Exactly, not in a magical thinking kind of way.
Hmm.
In this context, manifestation is practical. It's about bringing an idea, a goal, from just a concept into actual reality.
Okay.
And the sources make it clear the key isn't some kind of magic wand. It's concentrated effort and belief. And that effort and belief are fueled by being absolutely clear on the goal and then consistently uh, directing your energy towards it.
Okay, so let's break down clarity first. It's the bedrock, you said. The sources talk about it as having a really crystal clear vision of your destination.
Yeah, like where are you actually trying to get to? In your personal life, your career, your lifestyle, what does that look like?
And this seems to be where a lot of people stumble, right? When they think about achieving something big or manifesting something, they might lack that clarity.
They really do.
Yeah.
And think about it, it makes sense. If you don't have a clear picture of where you're going, I mean, how could you possibly know which road to take?
Yeah, you mentioned that quote from the sources. If you don't know where you were going, then any road will get you there. Which sounds kind of freeing.
But it usually means you end up somewhere random,
Right.
right? Maybe somewhere that isn't even fulfilling because you didn't actively choose it.
So clarity acts like your internal compass, though.
Exactly. It sets the direction for, well, everything, your energy, your decisions, the actions you take day to day. It helps guide you towards the opportunities that actually align with what you truly want.
And this feels really important. It helps you say no.
Oh, hugely important. When you're crystal clear on what matters most, it suddenly becomes much easier to turn down distractions or commitments or even sometimes relationships that don't actually serve that core vision.
The sources point out it helps you decide who and what belongs in your life. That's powerful. It protects your time and your mental space.
Which are absolutely precious resources. So the big question then becomes, how do you get this clarity? Especially in a world that's just constantly throwing noise at you.
Yeah, how?
Well, Dandapani suggests it really requires introspection and also a kind of deliberate simplification. You have to actively quiet the mental chatter.
Quieting the chatter. Okay, that sounds easier said than done. How do you even begin?
It involves simplifying things externally,
Mm,
maybe reducing commitments,
yeah.
decluttering your physical space, that kind of thing. But critically, he talks about curating your psychological diet.
Psychological diet. I like that term. What does that entail?
Think about it like your physical diet. Just like the food you need affects your body, the information and influences you consume affect your mind.
Right.
So a healthy psychological diet means consciously choosing positive, purposeful input. You know, the books you read, the podcasts, the conversations, the media. And just as importantly, it means actively reducing exposure to negativity, gossip, or just trivial stuff that clouds your thinking.
So being really intentional about what you let into your mental space.
Exactly. By doing that, you create the quiet, the necessary space for your own vision, your own clarity to actually emerge.
Okay, so you start clearing out the noise, creating that mental space. How do you then move from just less noise to actual specific clarity of purpose? What are the practical steps there?
The sources really emphasize self-reflection and decisive intent. It's about carving out dedicated time to figure out what success and happiness mean to you,
Mhm.
not based on what society says or your family or anyone else.
Right, like really sitting down and defining it for yourself.
Yeah, and writing down your goals, your
Yeah.
aspirations in detail. That's a really powerful exercise.
Asking those big questions like, if I could design my ideal life, no limits, what would it actually look like, feel like, or what are the core values I really want to live by?
Precisely. And the absolute key here is specificity. You have to avoid those vague wishes like, oh, I just want to be happier. I want to be successful.
It's like telling a taxi driver, just take me somewhere nice. It doesn't work.
Exactly. You need to define precisely what happy or successful looks like for you. Is it starting a particular kind of business, helping specific people? Is it achieving a health goal like running a marathon next year? Is it living in a certain kind of community? The more specific, the more tangible and powerful that vision becomes.
And this isn't something you just do once and then you're done, right? The sources suggest clarity is more of an ongoing practice.
Oh, definitely. Because we change, we grow, our priorities might shift. So
Mm,
regularly revisiting your goals, refining your aspirations, maybe quarterly or even monthly, keeps that internal compass calibrated.
makes sense. And what about tools to help with this? Meditation and journaling come up.
Yeah, they're invaluable. Meditation helps you tune out the external noise and learn to listen to your own inner voice.
Hmm.
Journaling can reveal patterns in your thinking, uncover hidden desires, and really clarify your true priorities over time. And mindfulness practices, just generally, throughout the day, build that crucial self-awareness muscle.
And I liked the mention of visual aids too, like vision boards.
hmm Creating a collage of images, words that represent your goals, and putting it somewhere you see it every day. It sounds simple, but it's a really powerful technique.
How so?
Well, every time you glance at it, it reinforces where you've decided to direct your life. It keeps the goal top of mind, and it helps your subconscious mind start to recognize opportunities out in the world that actually align with that picture you're holding. It makes the abstract goal feel more concrete.
Okay, so clarity is the destination. You've drawn the map, you've got the blueprint through intent and introspection. Now, this is where it gets really powerful, I think. If clarity is where you're going, focus is the vehicle that gets you there.
That's a perfect analogy. Dandapani defines focus exactly like that. It's the ability to concentrate your awareness deliberately on one thing at a time for an extended period without getting pulled away by distractions.
And the importance of that is captured in that other key phrase from the sources. Where awareness goes, energy flows.
Exactly right. Your mental energy, your life force essentially follows your attention. So whatever you consistently put your focus on, that's what grows, that's what manifests in your life.
So if you channel that mental energy towards your clear goal,
You're actively feeding it. You're giving it the energy it needs to actually materialize in the real world.
and contrast that with the scattered mind we talked about earlier. If your awareness is just bouncing between emails, social media, worries, a dozen different things,
Then your energy is spread incredibly thin, right? And that leads to scattered results, inefficiency, frustration, feeling like you're spinning your wheels, and ultimately, stalled progress on what truly matters.
whereas a focused mind is like a laser beam. It creates this powerful concentration of energy that builds momentum and drives you towards accomplishment.
Which brings up a really big question. Is this focus thing just something you're born with? Either you're good at it or you're not.
No, the sources are really clear on this. It's a skill. It's like a muscle that you can actually cultivate and strengthen.
That's the hopeful part. Most of us, were never really taught how to focus. And modern life, well, it inadvertently trains us in the opposite, in distraction, constantly checking phones, trying to juggle multiple tasks.
Dandapani puts it really simply, doesn't he? Whatever mental patterns you repeat, you reinforce.
Exactly. So if you constantly practice getting distracted, guess what? You get really, really good at being distracted.
But the flip side is also true.
Yes. The incredibly good news is, if you deliberately practice focus, you can become excellent at that instead. It's fundamentally a choice and a trainable skill.
Okay, so how do we train it? How do we build this focus muscle? What are the practical strategies that come from Dandapani's teachings?
Well, the first, and maybe the most fundamental, is single tasking. Just commit to doing one thing at a time.
Sounds simple.
It does. But actively resist that urge to switch tasks or quickly check your email or glance at your phone. every single time you consciously choose to stay on that one task, even for a few minutes longer than you normally would, you're doing a rep. You're training your brain's ability to concentrate.
So multitasking is basically the enemy of focus training.
Pretty much, yeah. The second strategy is create a distraction-free environment. This means actively identifying and minimizing what he calls attention leaks.
Like turning off notifications, closing unnecessary browser tabs, maybe tidying your workspace so there's less visual clutter.
Exactly. The sources even suggest doing a distraction audit. Like, honestly, look at your day and figure out where and why your focus tends to break down. Then systematically eliminate those triggers. Maybe that means scheduling specific short blocks of time for email or social media rather than letting them interrupt you constantly.
Okay, makes sense. What's next?
Third, practice mindfulness or meditation. This is presented almost like the mental equivalent of going to the gym specifically for your focus muscle.
Right.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a noticeable difference over time. Concentration meditation, in particular, where you deliberately focus your attention on one thing, like your breath or a sound, and then gently, without judgment, bring your mind back every time it wanders. That is a direct workout in mental discipline.
And general mindfulness throughout the day helps too.
Absolutely. Just practicing being present in the current moment, whatever you're doing, strengthens your ability to consciously direct your attention.
Okay. Fourth strategy.
Use anchoring techniques, because your mind will wander. That's natural. The key is having a way to gently but firmly pull it back to your point of focus.
Like what?
It could be super simple, just a keyword you say to yourself, like focus or here. Or maybe a short positive mantra related to your goal, like I am focused and clear. That helps recenter your attention and reinforces the state you want to be in.
Got it. And the last one?
Finally, build stamina. Gradually. Don't expect miracles overnight. You wouldn't try to run a marathon on day one of training, right?
Definitely not.
Same with focus. Start with manageable chunks of focused work, maybe just 15 or 20 minutes. Then take a proper short break. And then, gradually, as your focus muscle gets stronger, you can increase the duration of those focused intervals.
So by deliberately putting these practices into place, you're actively retraining your mind. You're basically signaling, hey, I'm in charge of where my attention goes now, instead of just letting it get pulled around randomly.
That's exactly it. So if you bring those two pieces together, that clarity, the laser-sharp picture of what you want, and that unwavering focus, the disciplined ability to direct your energy.
You move from just having a nice idea, a vision, to actually making it happen, making it real.
That's the process of empowered manifestation he talks about, bringing an idea into reality through concentrated effort, fueled by belief. It's not passive wishing. It's focused, intelligent work.
So the formula boiled down is pretty simple then.
Disarmingly simple, according to the sources. Step 1, get absolutely crystal clear about your goal. Define it, visualize the details, really understand why you want it deep down. Avoid that trap of vague wishes.
Okay, step 2.
Step 2, direct your awareness, your energy towards that vision relentlessly. You have to consciously feed it your attention and your consistent effort, day in, day out.
I love the garden metaphor that comes from his monastic background. Your awareness is like a beam of light.
And your mind is like a garden.
Yeah.
If you constantly shine that light, that awareness on the weeds, fear, doubt, distractions, worries, guess what grows?
So weeds.
Right. But if you consciously, consistently shine that beam of light onto the seeds of your actual goal, giving it your daily attention, your energy, you nourish its growth. You allow it to take root and eventually manifest.
So in really practical terms, this means things like actively thinking about your goal often, planning the steps needed, maybe learning new skills required.
And crucially, taking concrete actions, even small ones, but taking them consistently over time. Your life essentially becomes the direct reflection, the manifestation of where and how you choose to invest your precious energy.
So holding that vision steady in your mind and consistently directing your actions towards it, that's what aligns everything to make it real.
Exactly. And this is but it's not passive. The sources really stress the need for commitment and resolve.
Meaning you have to truly want the goal.
You have to really deeply want it. And you have to be willing to do the work, especially when it gets hard or inconvenient or boring. The sources suggest that many people fail, not because they aren't capable, but honestly because they just don't want the goal badly enough.
Or they aren't willing to put in that consistent, sometimes unglamorous effort that's required day after day.
Precisely. Resolve is that inner strength, that grit to keep going when you hit obstacles, and maybe more importantly, to resist the constant temptations that try to pull you off course.
And this is where the depth of your clarity really pays off, isn't it? Having a compelling why
Yeah.
behind your goal is what fuels that perseverance when your initial motivation starts to fade.
Absolutely. And alongside that resolve, the sources mention patience and trust are essential. Big, meaningful goals, they usually take time to build.
Right, it's not instant.
Not at all. But every single day that you apply focused effort, it's like another drop filling the bucket. You have to trust that if you maintain clarity and consistently direct your energy with focus, your goal will manifest, or has the highest probability of manifesting, over time. Persistence is kind of the unsung hero behind most success stories, isn't it?
Definitely. All those unseen moments of concentration add up.
hmm Now, beyond all this internal work on clarity and focus, the external environment plays a huge role too.
Ah, okay. So to really live this way,
Yeah.
it helps if your surroundings support it.
It helps immensely, yeah. Aligning your habits, your routines, your physical space with your goals of clarity and focus makes everything easier.
So consciously cultivating an environment for success, like protecting your energy.
Yes. Identify the things, maybe people, activities, even passive habits like endless scrolling that consistently drain your mental or emotional energy. Clarity actually gives you the confidence and the courage to say no more often to things that don't truly serve your core vision.
Preserving that energy for what really matters.
Exactly. And maintain that healthy mindset diet we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Actively seek out content, communities, conversations that uplift you, inform you, inspire you towards your goal.
Like biographies of people who've done similar things or educational resources, positive podcasts.
Right. There, and consciously reduce the time spent on, say, doom scrolling or media that just fosters pessimism or anxiety. Keeping that psychological diet intentional helps keep your mind fit and focused on possibilities.
What about visualization? Is that part of the environment?
It's a powerful technique to use intentionally within your environment, yeah. Spending even just a few minutes each day vividly imagining your desired outcome as if it's already happened.
Really feeling it.
Seeing it. Yes, engaging all your senses. See it. Feel the emotions associated with it. This primes your mind, almost like tuning a radio, to recognize and act on real-world opportunities that align with that picture. It's a technique top athletes and performers use all the time for a reason.
And remembering to revisit and refine things periodically.
Crucial. Your clarity isn't set in stone. As you learn and grow, your goals might evolve. So taking time, maybe monthly or quarterly, to review your progress, maybe adjust your goals, set new targets, reconnect with your why, it ensures your focus stays directed towards what's most important to you now.
And finally, anchoring all this with daily rituals.
Yeah, simple habits can make a big difference. Integrating small rituals into your routine, like spending 2 minutes each morning reading your clearly defined goals, or reciting a personal mantra that reinforces your vision, or maybe a short journaling session in the evening to reflect on where your energy went that day.
Dandapani's own routine, drawing from his monastic background, apparently includes that morning meditation and clearly setting intentions for the day ahead.
Right, so by consciously designing your environment, your inputs, your daily routines, you basically make living a focused life, guided by clarity, significantly easier. Your surroundings and habits become your allies, supporting your aspirations, rather than acting as subtle saboteurs.
Okay, so if we boil this all down, in this crazy world that's constantly screaming for our attention, the real power drawing from this wisdom isn't necessarily about fighting every single distraction head on.
No, it's more about having that absolute clarity of purpose first, and then applying unwavering directed focus towards that.
Clarity is the blueprint, the plan for the life you actually want to build.
And focus is the engine, the disciplined energy that actually brings that blueprint into reality.
And by really internalizing and starting to apply these principles, you can shift, can't you? From feeling like you're just being tossed around by circumstances.
So you're giving an active, intentional creator, someone who is consciously steering their life towards a destination they've clearly chosen for themselves.
Now, the journey isn't going to be magically free of challenges, obviously.
Of course not. Life happens. But having that clear vision combined with a focused mind gives you resilience. It gives you the direction needed to navigate those inevitable obstacles with purpose rather than getting completely derailed.
Remember that core idea. Clarity is power. It's the power to define the life you genuinely want.
And disciplined focus. That's your most potent tool for making that vision a tangible reality.
So maybe here's a final prompt for you listening, something really actionable to think about right now. What one specific area of your life Maybe the one where you feel most scattered or stuck or directionless right now. What one area could benefit the most from a powerful dose of clarity and unwavering focus starting today?
Yeah, where could you apply this wisdom first? Because as you begin to practice just defining that vision with more specificity and then consistently directing even a little bit of focused energy towards it each day, you will start to see a shift.
Opportunities related to that goal might suddenly seem more visible.
hmm Incremental progress will start to replace that feeling of procrastination or being stuck. And what might feel like just a distant dream right now can genuinely start to become your tangible reality.